This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Hello. Listen to him. He knows everything.
I know I ordinarily only do the weather once, but it's so great I'm going to do it again. Britain is set to bask in 22 degrees centigrade. We are going to be a nation of baskers. The spring heatwave Britain has been waiting for began on Friday, which just missed out on being the hottest day of the year so far, with highs of 73.9 degrees. Not 74 degrees, 73.9 degrees. Sunday will see plenty of glorious sunshine with some clouds, light rain later in the afternoon in the Wales and the north. Where in the north? Checking while you wait. Aha! Oh well, never mind. You've got nothing to wear when it's sunny, you good people in Glasgow. The Met Office tweeted with moderate to high levels of ultraviolet light. Remember to protect yourself from the sun if staying outside for any prolonged periods, they said.
Emergency, everybody to get from street. Emergency, everybody to get from street.
Met Office forecaster Marco said it's warm, above early May average temperatures, and there's plenty more warmth ahead. Who fancies the mid to upper 20s around mid-May, he says. I do. Yes, 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 yes.
No, 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 no.
Next week we'll start more unsettled, but a mini heatwave could move in by next weekend. A mini heatwave, can you believe it? But the Met Office said the current high temperatures have been particularly surprising because it's so early in the month. They took a look at the thermometer and they said... What? And it's all thanks to global warming. And it's all thanks to a high-pressure system brought on by southwesterly winds from the Azores, wherever that is. Either way, we'll take it. Some texts and emails from last night. Sue emails, how long do you give before the PM remembers how important poor and vulnerable people are to him? I don't know what you mean by that. Tom says the thing about Keir Starmer and whatever gathering he attended is that he noticeably was not the Prime Minister of the country who had recently written the very rule that he was breaking. The very rule, Bodger.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
John says, have you ever been to Devil's Bridge, North Wales? It's spectacular and a steam train ride to Aberystwyth. Beautiful, he says. No, I have not. Have you been, Bodge? Undecided. Mike says if voting were compulsory, there would have been a lot of wasted time in Sawtry near Peterborough. It was an uncontested ward. Labour, Lib Dems and the Greenies didn't even put up a candidate, and the Conservatives won by default. How would you legislate for more than one candidate? I don't know. It doesn't make any difference. Just get out there and vote. Stop arguing, Mike. Paul says Keir did not have a curry. He did have a curry, but he didn't touch the poppadoms. He did eat a poppadom, and he paid the bill, and he gave the delivery guy a tip. He put it on his expense account, and he did not tip the delivery guy. So that's clear. The Daily Mail is supposed to have some sort of Super Soaraway exclusive tomorrow about how they've got him banged to rights. So he must resign. All the while insisting that Boris Johnson doesn't do anything of the sort. Keir Starmer must resign before he's been fined. Boris Johnson must not resign after he's been fined. I hope that's clear. Gwenny tweets, Edinburgh is beautiful. Well, that's just a fact. And finally from last night, George says, I got married on Saturday and I used some of your material for my speech. I'll give it 6 months, George. Tonight's messages already? Oh, blimey, I'll never get through them. But you know me, I never complain.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
0345 6060 973. Well, there's just plenty to talk about. I want to talk about the royal family. I want to talk about, is Boris Johnson an ass-et? Whether he should leave, whether Starmer should leave. I want to talk about the windfall tax. I want to talk about the Her Majesty's Jubilee. Oh, it is going to be fantastic. Hazard's not going to be there, and Sparkles, she's right out. And as for Andy, you remember Andy, don't you? Yeah, that's him. So I want to talk about that as well. And Brexit. How's Brexit going?
Oh, fabulous.
That's what I heard. Well, I suppose it depends who you talk to, doesn't it? How's Brexit going, Nige?
Brexit's going great.
I don't believe you. On that or any other issue. Gordon says, are you not shocked by the allegations about how Amber Rudd was treated by Johnny Depp? I know she wasn't the greatest Home Secretary, but all the same. Huh. I've been avoiding all of that. I just don't care. And I suppose you think that makes me a fascist. Don't care. They both look as bad as each other to me, and that's just looking at them with, with a jaundiced eye and still pictures only. I'm not going to see the videos. I don't care. I'm not going to see their tearful depositions. I'm not going to read the ins and outs of their disgusting lives. I'm not remotely interested. And it takes a lot of effort to be not remotely interested in those two. Because they're just everywhere. How much are they suing each other for? It's like $100 million or something like that. Spare change. Chicken feed. Bodge. Rona says, have you ever seen an animated nuclear warning film called When the Wind Blows? I just thoroughly depressed myself watching it, says Rona. Hey, Rona.
Stop whining.
Although, says Rona, I was surprised to notice that the music was by the legend that is Roger Waters.
Rock and roll!
Really? Was it? And she says, P.S. Wind turbines are sublime. Anyone who thinks otherwise needs to be corrected. Yeah, wind turbines are sublime, and I don't care whether they go around or whether they just stood standing there still. They look beautiful. They just do. And anybody who moans about, I don't like this and I don't like that, moan. They are a beautiful thing. And even if you, for some reason, do not like them, if they offend your eye, be comforted by the fact that they are producing free electricity out of wind. Does anybody in this audience or on tape know anything about wind?
I know a lot about wind.
Michael says, if Keir Starmer says he will resign if fined, it would put the PM under significant pressure. It would be Keir's greatest moment. No, it would not put the PM under significant pressure because the PM has no shame, which is a very great benefit if you want to lead a country. If you have no shame, you can do what you want. There are no rules that you feel that apply to you. You can act with impunity. If you are incapable of being shamed, you can get away with anything. It's shame that stops most people from doing things that are criminal or nasty or unpleasant or that society would tut about. That's what shame gives you. It gives you some sort of base level of approved behaviour that society gives you the thumbs up. But if you have no shame, you can do anything. If you aren't shamed by any behaviour, if the whole of the country disapproves of you, it don't make no never mind if you're not remotely interested in what anybody else thinks. You personally think you are fantastic. You do think you're fantastic, don't you, Bodge? Yes. So Keir Starmer could resign. He'd say, right, I've pulled this scenario out from I've been running this through my mind. Keir Starmer would get up, this is before he gets fined, assuming that he does, and he'll say, well, I'll leave if I get fined, if you do. It's one of those let's jump together things. And you know full well that if you are on the edge of, like, when Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, where they're, okay. I suppose there's always people who haven't seen it. Warning! Spoiler alert. So they're cornered and they only have one way. They can either shoot their way out, in which case they'll probably die, or they can jump into the river. And the Sundance Kid says, I'm not jumping, because he can't swim. And Butch Cassidy says, are you kidding? The fall will probably kill you. And so they both jumped together. In that scenario, Boris Johnson would say, right, here we go, 1, 2, 3, go. And he wouldn't jump. He'd just stay there and probably give himself up. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
Graham says Angela R was doing the can. Keir and his boys were doing shots, and I don't care. Number 10 was like a nightclub. A nightclub. Your name's not on the list. You're not coming in. Who'd be the bloke on the door with the door Nazi? Who would that be with a clipboard? I think we all know full well who that would be.
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
0345 6060 973. Let's have very keen call, suspiciously keen, as a matter of fact. One moment, please. I'll get this right. Just a second. Hull. Hello, Charles.
Hey up, Nick. You're right, lad.
Comedy call from Hull. Yes, Charles.
I can't keep it up, actually. I've never had a heavy Yorkshire accent, to be honest. But were you surprised by Hull going Lib Dems?
Well, I don't... kind of. I mean, it's a good long while since I went to Hull. The last time I went to Hull was to see their submarium.
Absolutely, the fish.
Yeah, the world's only submarium, which is very impressive if you knew what a submarium is, and nobody does. It's like an aquarium that is also a submarine, or something like that. What is it?
Kind of.
What is it?
We're still trying to figure that one out.
Yeah, you got
here,
no.
actually.
He lives there, and you got no idea. But what I do know is that when I went, it was completely uninfested with fish. There were aquariums, all right, and they had water in them, sure enough. But did they have any fish?
No.
They had videos of fish. I'm not making this up. There was practically fish-free, but they had fish on a video.
I've seen a couple of sharks.
Couple of sharks. Mm-hmm.
I'm not really up on fish, even though I come from here, really.
Right. Well, I don't know, Charles. Were you surprised that it went Lib Dem?
Well, this is it. Getting back to brass tacks, disillusionment. That's what it's about. I mean, all right, Hull's always been Labour and stuff, so the Conservatives are out. But to actually move from Labour to the Lib Dems, who are those Remainer rejoiner folk.
Mm-hmm. Lefty, lovey lynch mob, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's disillusion. You know, do you remember the big fish boat, Keller, which is a suburb of Hull, by the way, folks? It was in St George's Dock.
Do I remember a fish boat in St George's Dock? No.
Yeah, huge freighter.
How big was it?
It was so big it hardly got in there.
Blocked out the sun.
It was Britain's only Russian equivalent freighter, and it just lay there because the stupid Conservatives couldn't organise a fish brew-up with Norway, and they couldn't even get anything sorted out with DEFRA.
Okay, well, I'm very confused and not a little disinterested, I have to tell you, Charles.
Well, anyway, suffice to say...
Yeah, in closing...
local Labour voters are disillusioned, but also I think they're growing away. Brexit is in the past.
No, it isn't. Brexit is always going to be with us. It's in our future. It's in the now. They have not got Brexit
but
done.
Their thoughts. I think they've realised that the whole roads aren't paved with Brexit gold.
Right. Neither will they ever be.
Yeah.
Okay, well, this has been a sensational call, Charles. The moment you have another thought, I want you to call somebody else straight away. Okay, promise me you'll do that. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbot. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Everything is going extremely well.
Don't ask me, I've got no idea. 0345 6060 973. Darryl texts, after Partygate, Bodger vowed to sack some of the members of staff. Now, after poor results in local elections, he's going to sack some of the cabinet. It's always somebody else's fault. Of course it wasn't Bodger who selected them in the first place. Just saying. Explain yourself, Bodge.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
He's got no explanation that he can find. That's the only explanation I can find. Get the Carpenters on the phone right now. I mean it. Crawley. Hello, Graham.
Hiya, how you doing?
All right, thanks. An ecstasy of fumbling. Yes.
What do you reckon of Diane Abbott being the Prime Minister?
No.
Oh, come on. It's got to be better than Bodger, isn't it?
Oh, well, that wasn't the initial question.
Ah, but I've just added something to the question.
Oh, right.
What do you reckon?
You've made an addendum.
Yeah, correct.
It's a no, and furthermore...
No.
No.
Why not?
Let me say it again.
No.
Yeah.
I think she'd be good.
Angela Rayner.
No, come on, Diane Abbott.
No, Angela Rayner.
Give her a chance. I mean, put her on probation for a year to see how she does.
Give her a chance?
Well, why not?
Why not? Let's just, to hell with it. It's only a country, isn't it? No, I think Angela Rayner.
No, Diane Abbott.
Angela Rayner is the person of the moment.
I don't know. Diane Abbott made a good comment today. So if Starmer goes, Boris goes, there could be a chance for her to get in.
Yeah, no, I seriously doubt it. She does excellent work right where she is. I would imagine that she doesn't want to progress another foot.
Okay. Well, yeah, right, true. Okay, maybe.
Another satisfied customer. 0345 6060 973. Jenny says, Sir Keir Starmer needs to resign and lose the whip. Why? Mary says, every time you play the wonky God Save the Queen, my Labrador... Oh, really? It has a personal airbase accident.
Dreadful.
That's just way too much information there, Mary. She says, I think it might be a fear thing. Weird sounds scare him. Before you play it again, could you say that some Labradors might find this sound distressing? No. Have you considered it might be something you're feeding it? Jennifer says, Corbyn's whole ethos was negative. He ruined the Labour Party. Well, I'm not sure that is entirely correct there, Jennifer. Jennifer. He did pretty well, as far as the number of votes are concerned. Pretty well as far as the number of people that joined the Labour Party are concerned. If you had asked, as I did many times on this show, before the last general, well, not the last, but the last but one general election, if people agreed with the certain policies that I put towards them, they said, that sounds, absolutely, yeah. Tax the rich a little bit more, bring British rail back, renationalise the railways, etc. and so on. I can't remember off the top of my head what they were, but people said, yeah, that sounds sensible. And then I said, actually, these policies are all espoused by Jeremy Corbyn, was their response as they ran in the opposite direction. I think that we have to accept that he was subject to the greatest level of attack of any human being in history, with the possible exception of Sparkles. Out of Hazza and Sparkles. David says, at the next general election, the Tories will say, let's get Brexit done and let's level out the levelling up. And some people will still fall for it. Well, you can fool all of the fools all of the time. Don't forget that, David. I want to talk about ducks and bears. I want to talk about Johnson being an asset, the windfall tax, just going over some of the results from last night. Now we've got a little bit of space between them and now. That didn't make any sense, but you know what I mean. We've had a little bit of time to relax and just take it all in. The Conservatives did very well, say the Conservatives. The shamelessness is a joy to behold. I mean, really. Carnforth. Hey up, Annie.
Hey up, Nick. I do agree with you about Angela Rayner, actually.
Yeah.
She's very popular with younger people. And
I love her.
I do too, and she's a really good speaker. She's really on the ball, really sharp.
Yeah.
She's very authentic. And she's
That's it.
Bit of a fighter.
Authentic. Bingo.
Definitely. And also, she's got legs.
She's a real person.
She is a real person, and she knows what it's like to be brought up really poor and to be hungry. She knows what lots of people are going to be going through at the moment, and even worse, in the next coming months.
Right.
And
if you're expecting an old Etonian super rich toff to have sympathy for you not being able to heat and eat, well, then I wish you all of the best. These people wouldn't think twice about spending 50 quid in a bottle of wine.
No, but they tell us, or the little people, to go to the supermarket and buy the bargains, not the bargain, what they call the budget range, and that's why we can't manage, because we're not going to the supermarket and buy the budget range. If
you stupid poor people would just stop shopping at Fortnum's, then you'd be able to afford more.
Yes, definitely. Oh, and just in passing, about Devil's Bridge, that person who said about Aberystwyth to Devil Bridge, highly recommended.
Is
absolutely gorgeous, yes.
Where does it go from and where does it go to? Well,
it goes from Aberystwyth.
Well, it depends on which way you're going, I suppose.
Well, yes, I think it starts.
Does it go both ways?
Starts,
Can you go both ways on the bridge? Right, okay.
No, it's you start in Aberystwyth, you go to Devil's Bridge, and it drops you off there, and you hang about there for a little while, and then you come back again. But it is absolutely spectacular.
You just loiter.
Loiter, loiter, and it's beautiful and wooded, and you go up the side of a really spectacular valley, so you get fantastic views. And if you like Thomas the Tank Engine, little narrow gauge railways.
Thomas the Tank Engine. Yeah.
Yeah, I love narrow gauge railways, and there's lots of them around there, actually, in that part of Wales.
Well, it sounds a delight. I'll stick it on my list.
It is a delight. But anyway, that's not what I rang up about. I did ring up about Keir Starmer, because I think if he was to get a fixed penalty thing, I think he would have to resign. I don't think, even if Bodger said, if he said to Bodger, I'll resign if you do, then he would just be a complete hypocrite, because he's just spent the last, I don't know how many months, telling both Bodger and Rishi Sunak to resign. So he just couldn't if he got one. But I think he should step down anyway, because I don't think Labour did that well this election, not in England. Okay, they picked up some prestigious seats in London and a few of the towns in the southeast, but they're really just not cutting through on those red wall seats. And if they don't get those back, I think Labour are finished, because they've already lost Scotland, and that's not coming back. That's an SNP kingdom now. And if they lose the votes in the North and the Midlands, and it's such a big chunk, they can't get a majority unless they get those seats back. And the people in those seats, he's just not doing it for them.
Well, what on earth would do it for them? I mean, for crying out loud, the people in those seats have been subjected to the Conservative government, which I'll just go ahead and guess isn't remotely considered about a single solitary one of them, and they keep doing that. Talk about an act of great self-harm. I can't believe it. And what is it about the Conservative government? What is it about what they have done to the good people of the North for the last 12 years that makes them think, yeah, that's right, let's keep on voting for them?
It's only parts of the North, and I still think it's to do with Brexit.
Brexit, of course it is.
They in those seats, and they're not the big cities, because all the big cities in the North, like Manchester and Liverpool and Leeds and Newcastle, they all voted Remain, but it's the towns, and they were all really heavily Brexit places, and I think they see Keir Starmer as an arch Remainer, and they don't trust him. And they also, I've heard people being vox-popped in those areas, and he's seen as being posh in inverted commas.
Yeah, posher
really
than Boris
unfairly.
Johnson. Absolutely. What a moronic thing to say. Boris de Pfeffel Johnson. descendant of royalty, went to Eton and Oxford, has been getting away with it his entire life, thinks that 150 grand a year is chicken feed, and they think that Keir Starmer is posh. It's because of the Sir thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's really not a good look, really, for a Labour leader.
At all.
No, I think he should have ditched that or not accepted it in the first place. Not if he thought he was going to be a politician anyway. Well, not a Labour one. It would have gone down well if he'd been Tory, but... I just think Labour needs a new leader, because I just don't think they'll get enough. They won't get a majority next time, not unless there's somebody else. So I think Angela Rayner or Lisa Nandy or Andy Burnham I really like, although he's obviously not got a seat at the moment. But if he just shaped himself and put himself up for the next by-election somewhere.
I don't know. I'm plumping for Angela Rayner, just because she is the total opposite of Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson is just a floating ball of fluff, whereas Angela Rayner is like a sword that would slice him in half.
Yeah, she is really good. I mean, she's always can, answer back to him and do it really well. But I don't know. I think she might be really attacked by the media.
Oh, do you think?
I mean, but I think they would get her on things like, and they have done this already. They were saying, she can't, debate with Boris Johnson because of his Oxford education.
But she can.
Oh, she can, yes, but they'll go on about, she hasn't got any formal education.
It doesn't matter who it is, Annie. They're going to go for them anyway. I mean, can you think of a single person that would lead the Labour Party into the next election that would not be subject of attacks from the billionaire offshore right-wing press? Here, I've got to go, but thanks for that. 0345 6060 973. It's just past 10:30. The news headlines on LBC with Alice Bell.
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer has reportedly told colleagues he will have to quit if he gets a COVID fine over Beergate, the investigation by Durham police. Reports from the right-wing political website Guido Fawkes suggest that Starmer is so concerned about the outcome of the investigation, he's asked Labour peer and former Justice Secretary Lord Falconer to put together a legal defence team. A source told the website Starmer has told people he will have to go if he gets fined. The news site suggests that Starmer's lawyers have said there's a 60% chance he will escape investigation without a fine. A 60% chance, that's like 1 in 7. Fact fans. It's about 65%. It comes as the Labour leader is branded a hypocrite by Conservatives who say that he should resign in the light of the Beergate probe. How absolutely perfectly Tory is that? They yell over anyone that says that Boris Johnson should resign after he actually got a fine for attending and organising actual bring-your-own-booze, nip-to-the-off licence when it runs out, banging, crashing, smashing all-night parties. But the same people say that Labour leader should resign before he's been fined, without knowing whether he will be or not. And they have the nerve to call Labour hypocrites. They don't think past the end of their next sentence, do they? I mean, if Starmer has to go, if he gets fined, then Bodger should have gone already. Not too bright, your fans, eh, Bodge?
I can't comment on that.
There's Cabinet Minister Nadeem Zahawi, who questioned why Sir Keir was not resigning after the Labour leader had called Boris Johnson to quit while under investigation over the Number 10 party row. But Boris Johnson didn't quit. You galloping minister. Answer that, Nadeem Zahawi.
So obviously, but I know certainly.
I'm afraid we're out of time. Labour MP Diane Abbot did say Sir Keir would have to really consider his position if he was handed a fixed penalty notice. But as the Prime Minister is the one setting standards in public life, it would be a bit rich for Starmer to resign and Bodger to cling on like a bloated limpet, which he would. There's no way Bodger will do the decent thing. It's not in his nature. He'll take the whole lot down with him and all souls on board. That ship's going down. 0345 6060 973. Ayrshire. Andy.
Hiya.
Andy.
Hello.
Yes, Andy.
Hi. So my question I want to ask is, or talk about, is about the election, how really well the SNP did, how it made grounds for the 2017 local elections. And you got the unionist parties but say there's no mandate for a referendum, people don't want a referendum. But if folk don't want a referendum, why does the SNP keep winning elections?
Good
when
question.
The SNP has won every election since I've been an adult. So since 2011, since I became an adult, and they've won every election.
Right, I've got some of that. There's something wrong with your phone there, Andy, or there's something wrong with you.
Right. So from 2011, when I became an adult to vote,
right,
the SNP's won every election.
Every election.
And so they won the 2011 election under Alex Salmond, 2012 local election under Alex Salmond.
Yep.
They lost they won the European 2014.
Right. Let's just leave it at they
election.
won every election. Yeah.
Yep. But the unionist parties still say that there's no mandate for a referendum. Scots don't want a referendum. Well, Scots don't want a referendum. Why would they keep voting SNP?
Excellent question, Andy. What's the answer?
And also, how many parties do you know that gain ground after 15 years in government?
Yeah.
Could you imagine if the Tories, who were in power for 12 years, gain ground on Thursday?
Up 22 places, as far as I'm aware.
No, I mean, the Tories have lost ground, they lost councillors.
No, the SNP. SNP, up 22, something like that.
Yeah, but so after 15 years in government, we keep gaining ground.
Keep gaining ground.
But the Tories, I mean, they seem to think, there was no mandate for referendum. If Scots say no. Well, if Scots say no to referendum, you'll be further on than what you would be since 2017. You've lost ground.
I think the Conservative position is that the Scots shouldn't worry their pretty little heads about it. They're there or thereabouts. Thanks a lot, Andy. 0345 6060 973. Matt says, I've still got my Lib Dem poster up. Must stand for council next time to try and oust Labour councillors who take us for granted. Well done, Hull voters, says Matt. I don't know. I just Lib Dems, Hull. It just doesn't sound right, does it? Oh, I suppose they knew what they were voting for. Simon says, I hear Bodger is going to have to reach... hang on a minute. That's better. Simon says, I hear Bodger is going to have a reshuffle of his wonderful asset-ridden cabinet. What's the saying about a bad workman? Yes. Yeah, something about tools.
Correct.
Yeah, something about tools. Not you, David Cameron. Still not missing you, by the way. But we know where to find you if we do.
I think this is nonsense.
0345 6060 973. Let's take a call from Bruff. Derek.
Hi, Nick.
Derek.
Just to explain this whole thing, what Charlie was going on about, it's a massive, fishing trawler was stuck in the docks in Hull for over a year because they couldn't go to nowhere, to fish because of the, when we left the EU, basically the Tories hadn't put anything in place.
Yeah.
And then the thing with Labour in Hull, what it is, if you lived in Hull, we're quite near Hull and going to Hull quite a bit. For about the last 4 years, they've had roadworks churning everything into cycle lanes everywhere, all over the city. It's been absolute bedlam. It really has been bad. There isn't that many routes through Hull, when they close them off and everything. It just drives everybody, up the wall.
Well, it drives people in cars up the wall.
Yeah,
people on bikes love it.
Yeah, they love it.
Yeah.
But then what happened was, just when people think they're coming to the end of it, they said they was going to have another consultation, see how many more cycle lanes people wanted putting in.
Yeah.
So that is a big thing. I think that has turned, all from Labour to Lib Dem, but it's only by a few seats anyway, which is just tip the balance.
I've heard this before.
Well,
I've heard this before down south as well. People don't like these low traffic neighbourhoods. Well, the people in the low traffic neighbourhoods quite like it because they haven't got cars going up and down their road all day and all night.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm against them or for them, Nick. I'm just saying that's a big thing that's been going on for about the last 3 years.
Right.
But the other thing, Nick, as well, I think that if Starmer gets, I don't think he will, but if he did get fined, I think he would resign because he's an honourable man, unlike Johnson.
And I'd like to see, and I don't know if you think I had him a few times on LBC and everything. You know West Streeting? I think he comes off a really good and real, quite a good speaker and everything. I think he's the Shadow Health Secretary at the moment, isn't he? I think he took over from the guy from Leicester.
There are options. That's right.
Yeah. Or Yvette Cooper, but she's tarnished with, with the Blairs, isn't she? But I think she's good, Yvette Cooper, as well.
Tarnished.
But again, but I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because,
people get furiously angry every time anybody mentions, and I'm going to whisper it so as not to upset people, Tony Blair. Anybody that says Tony Blair, the people just go furious. They start frothing at the mouth and start punching the desk and kicking the cat.
But Angela Rayner is a good shout as well, Nick. Yeah. She does come over quite well.
Yeah, I think so.
But like you said...
If you want somebody to cut right through, she cuts right through. Comes right through the TV at you.
Yeah, and I think the like you said, it doesn't matter who's. I mean, you couldn't get anybody, like say Keir Starmer and the right wing press will attack a knight of the realm, won't they?
Doesn't matter who comes along. Jesus Christ could be reborn and walk among us and lead the Labour Party, and the offshore billionaire right wing press would say that he's in league with the devil. Thanks a lot, Derek. 0345 6060 973. It's all about the money, honey. You know it is. Matt said, oh no, I've read that. He's still got his Lib Dem poster up. That just seems a bit like, where have you got it up there, Matt? In the window? That's cutting out your precious light. Have you got it on the wall? In which case, that's pretty bad decoration there, I'd have to say. What are you, a student? Zoe says, please spare us the pain of talking about Mega Hazza and this damn jubbly, which I've absolutely no interest in engaging with. This family are so consumed with themselves, full of their own self-importance. What is the point of this undemocratic soap opera, says Zoe. Right. Because of that, I'm going to talk about them next. It's not a request show. You want a request played? Contact Anne-Marie Minhall. She's on Classic FM. So relaxing. But this is not a request show. Do I play requests?
No.
Leading Britain's conversation. LBC with Nick Abbot.
You've got a good, your mind is a little bit, three-dimensional.
No, I have no idea what you mean. Liam tweets, at the end of the film Sightseers, two characters hold hands to leap over the edge together and only one of them jumps. The one on the left, the one left on the edge is Bodger. Well, I've got no idea what that film is, but now, thanks to you, I don't need to see it. Spoiler alert.
Warning.
Josh texts Bodger's Eton schoolmaster, who said that Bodge thinks the rules do not apply to him, should have finished the report with, under no circumstances should this boy ever be allowed to run the country. Yeah, or run a bath, or tie his own shoelaces, or dress himself, or walk a dog, or anything. Faversham, Peter.
Hello, Nick.
Peter.
I just wanted to say, Nick, I agree with Annie on most things, but I had to phone up tonight because I totally disagree with Annie. I think Keir Starmer would make a wonderful Prime Minister for this country. Obviously, if he got a fine, and I'm just got my fingers crossed, and I'm praying, please, because I think.
What, you think God's going to intervene?
Yeah, but I just think Keir Starmer would make a fantastic Prime Minister. He's honest. He's everything, and I just can't agree with Annie tonight on that one.
Right.
And where Johnson was having parties after parties, but the Mail, that horrible paper, and the Express, all they're doing is going on at Keir.
On and on. Attack is the best defence.
Yeah, I mean, because they're millionaires and they can do it. And it sickens me, Nick. It really does sicken me. if Keir Starmer did get a fine, and I'm just praying he doesn't.
Yeah,
if he does, obviously,
pray to God.
Yeah, obviously he'd have to resign, but it would be a sad day for this country if we lose him. It would be a sad day. It really would.
Right. Are you going to get over it if we do? I mean...
I
can send you a box of tissues in the post, Peter, if that make you feel better.
Yeah, I've got plenty of tissues ready. But I just wanted
glad
to say,
to hear it.
I just wanted to say, the people up the north, I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, I live in Kent. I'm at the heart of the south. I live in Kent, and I went down my town the other day, because I live in Faversham, went down the town, and when you said last week that the French gas and electricity went up 4% and our gas and electricity went up 64%, I went down the town on the market and I kept on telling people after people after people about it. And I'm so sorry, but I just had to. But I just got my fingers crossed. We mustn't lose.
Well, now, wait a minute. First of all, you were praying to God, and now you've ditched God, and you're just crossing your fingers, hoping that will work. Well, OK. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. We'll find out. Thanks a lot, Peter. Stop bothering people down the market. They're going to take a picture of you and post it on every stall. Watch out, people.
Warning, warning.
Not to be engaged with. Alexandra texts, this is all a shameless smear on Keir. I don't blame him for wanting to unwind after a hard day's slog, attempting to curry favour with the electorate. Oh no, a listener with material. And while I've no doubt he has the bottle to deal with the ensuing media storm, I'm convinced it'll all amount to small beer.
Booze.
Exactly. Oxted, hello, Pat.
Hello.
Pat.
Yes.
Yes,
Am
Pat.
I on?
It sounds like you.
Right. I think all Sir Keir has to do is to keep his head down, wait for the Conservatives to promise all sorts of things that they haven't got a hope in hell of doing, and he'll just walk in, and then he'll get stuck with the problem.
Haven't they done that already? Haven't the Conservatives spent the last 12 years promising us things that they have no intention of giving us?
Political parties never win, do they? They lose the election and the next one moves in and they promise all sorts of things and they don't come up to scratch. So we vote them out again and the next lot come in.
Yeah, or they do actually come up to scratch and do give us all of the things that they promised.
I don't know. I'm pretty old.
And then we ditch them anyway because we just get bored. Don't we?
What I can see of it, they promise too much. They just haven't got a hope in doing it all.
I think that people forgive them, though.
I've written a list down.
A list? Oh, no.
No, you won't want to hear them.
That's right.
They promised all sorts of things. They're going to do something for the mental health. They're going to do something for the national health.
Yeah, levelling up.
Adoption is in a mess. The carer system is in a mess.
Yeah, NHS.
And God knows what. And they talk about it, but nothing ever gets done.
Nothing ever gets done. No. Easier to promise than actually do.
Here anyway,
right.
But I'm not really a Labour voter, but I wouldn't mind Labour getting in if he had the job.
You're thinking of a dalliance?
What?
A dalliance with Labour?
Yes, I might do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm of the opinion that there's more than one way of swinging the cat.
Oh,
and,
poor little cat.
Really,
why would you want to do that?
If they can get on with it and they know what they're doing, I don't think it would matter which way they went.
Right. OK, thanks a lot, Pat. I'm calling the RSPCA. Leave that cat alone. Simon says, are all the people from Hull like that caller from Hull? Because I haven't got a clue what that fellow was going on about. Is Hull onomatopoeic? Because in Hull, E's sound like U's, and Hull is actually hell? Or is that harsh on hell? Wow. I think that's a couple of calls in a row on the Nicky Abbot show where the South is declaring war on the North. Why can't people just get along? Jay says, 100% we need a Northern lass as a Labour leader. This is literally our only hope now that we have painted ourselves into an ideological corner. Yes. I think she'd be actually good. I do. Angela Rayner. Just do it. Alexandra says, this is all... No, I've done that. It's a shameless smear on Keir. Ben tweets, Keir Starmer should withdraw his demand seeking the resignation of Bodger Johnson. Johnson is loved by the English middle class. No, he isn't. He isn't. Weirdly, Boris Johnson is loved by the working class. The English middle class hate him like poison. The whole world's gone insane. The Tories are now the party that is loved by the working class, and the Labour Party seem to be enjoying favour. They're currying favour with the middle class. How bizarre is that? It's like the whole world's just been flipped upside down, shaken up like a snow globe. Phil says, how about BJ resigns, Keir resigns, and we have a small general election to put this all to bed? Winner takes all, partisan lies finished. Put this all to bed? What? Like the next leader's a dictator? I think the current leader is looking a bit like a dictator. Streatham. Hello, Robbie.
Well, good evening. How are you, Nick?
Good, thanks.
Yeah, I'm pretty good as well, actually.
No, I didn't ask.
A nice day today.
But I'm glad to hear it.
I was going to say, politicians, the only good politicians are dead ones.
Right,
but
I knew you were going to say that. Quite alarming, actually.
But I was going to say that, in fact, actually, with Mr. St. Valentine's Day Massacre, I normally say we should put them all up against a wall. And
right, okay, that's a very aggressive person. Take his number, call the police, dial 99, and then hover your finger over the last 9, just to be sure. Blimey. A little bit alarming. Just a smidge. I'm alarmed. But I do expect that it's all your fault, Boris Johnson. All your fault. Explain yourself.
Yeah. Wait.
You've upset that bloke. He did seem like the type who would be easily upset. You know, like he would start an argument about 2 raindrops falling down a window. John texts, is Eton a Church of England school? I don't know. What you mean, is it run by the Church of England? No. Do they espouse Church of England theories? Probably, I would guess so. What difference does it make? Peter says, don't decry hypocrisy. It might be an electoral asset. Well, apparently it is. That's right. Let's see if I can squeeze one more in before the news. Richmond. Phil.
Yeah, Nick, I was a bit late. You're coming up in the news, but first of all, the last 2 years have been the worst in my life, and I'm 75.
75 years old?
Yes, sir. Yeah, thank you. But not because of the pandemic, but because of this Johnson and Brexit. I mean, I've never been so embarrassed to be British. You know, obviously I'm Scottish, but I'm British because all my family fought for Britain. This guy is just... some guy said, give him tissues. No, give us vomit bags. I cannot believe that this nation has declined into pretty much a failed state. It's an embarrassment to be British, to show your British passport in European countries. It's an embarrassment. On the Keir Starmer thing, if I quickly may, Keir Starmer called for the resignation of Sunak and Johnson. They declined. So now people are calling for Starmer's resignation. So why should he resign if they didn't?
I know, comical. They're calling him hypocritical for not resigning because he was calling for their resignation because they have actually been fined.
Exactly. But if he gets fined, then he makes a moral decision, right? Maybe he'll resign out of principle. Who knows?
It seems like small, to coin that phrase again, it seems like small beer, doesn't it? That what he actually did. He had a beer. It was after a hard day's work, not much.
Yeah.
It wasn't a party. People didn't go out for booze in suitcases. They weren't dancing all night long. There wasn't, the sort of orgiastic shenanigans over at number 10. He wasn't standing at a podium telling us all to stay in. To conflate the two is comical.
And he wasn't telling other people not to go and visit dying relatives and stuff. Okay, sorry, Nick. News time. Right?
Yes. Coincidentally, yes, it is. Wow, he is a trained professional. He's got the timing all worked out to perfection. Well done, that man. 0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nica@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. I do want to talk about the Royal Jubilee because there's a certain pair that may ruin it for Her Majesty. And I want to talk about the new war on woke, which is against ducks and bears. If you can believe that. 0345 6060 973. Friday, Saturday, Sunday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
This is absolute tosh.
So they opened their big mouths and out came talk. Talk, talk.
Now, which newspaper is going to call those firefighters that saved those ducklings woke? I bet they do. I betcha, betcha, betcha. Woke firefighters wasted their time trying to save ducklings. I have personal experience of ducklings, and I can tell you that they are the stupidest thing that has ever been invented. They are so stupid. I mean, ducks are stupid, but ducklings, oh, I can't even begin to tell you. I had a stupid duck give birth on my balcony once. And I imagine that they ordinarily give birth in a tree. And so the ducklings, the little ducklings, they can just drop out of the tree and bounce on the ground because they're made of rubber. That's a fact. But because this stupid duck gave birth on my balcony, there's about a lip on the balcony of about a foot before the ducklings could get up and over and then fall off. Of course, if they had fallen off, it would have been about 5 floors down, and they would definitely, totally and absolutely have died. But the stupid duck didn't think about that. Neither did the stupid duck think that a duckling can't get up a 1-foot lip. Just can't. And so they were just running around the balcony, and boy, can those things move. I mean, they just zip around. I tried to catch one, but they weren't having it at all. They just sort of go like a big yellow blur. There was about like at least sort of 6 of them, and they just zip around, and I couldn't get them at all. And of course, the mother duck was most disturbed by this, and so I thought, I'm not going to get attacked by a duck because that would be embarrassing. Radio presenter killed by a duck. Nobody wants to read that. And so I called the RSPCA, and they said, we're not remotely interested. They did. Couldn't care less. What are they for? Ducks are birds. No, RSPCA. RSP... The Royal Society for the Protection of Birds, RSPB. That's right.
Correct.
The RSPB. I think the RSPCA weren't interested, so I called the RSPB. They weren't remotely bothered either. I think they just think there's too many ducks in the world. To hell with them. They said, call your local wetlands centre. And much to my surprise, they said, we'll be right over. And they were. They came straight away. And this bloke came with a supermarket bag for life, and he was an expert. He didn't take any of that duck nonsense, and he scooped them up and he popped them in the bag. I thought, wow, how do you do that? Like a genius. And he left. And I said, well, what about the big duck? Because you've got a bag full of little ones, and the big duck's out there going, hello? And he said, oh, no, we don't take the big ones. They can, they can stuff it, because they might be, I've got no idea, they might be diseased or, might be like hooligans or something. So we'll take care of the little ones, but the big one can, he can, just go and fly off. But it didn't. It sat there on the end of my balcony for about 3 days, looking very upset. I said,
Stop whining.
It did. It looked so disconsolate. Oh, taking his little duckies away. But eventually, after about 3 days, it got up and thought, and it said, right, that's it, I'm leaving. Apparently they go away and they have another brood of ducklings straight away. They probably have, hot duck interface with another one.
Disgusting.
Awful. And I bet they presented some other poor bloke with a balcony with the same blooming problem. Idiots. Anyway, woke firemen spent half the day trying to rescue some ducklings from a drain or something like that. But I bet a newspaper does use the word woke. Because wokeism, the new the new wing on the wokeism house is all about animals. Have you heard? The stuff that happens, it's just extraordinary. I'll get into that in a minute. But first, I must take this call here from Culross. Charlie.
Hi there, Max. How are you doing?
All right, thanks.
Yeah, I was going to make a wee quick clip about Keir Starmer, but first of all, I'd like to say the gentleman earlier that was talking regarding why are people in the country, or his country is what he said, voting Tory and whatnot, and then he went on to speak about the North. I get kind of confused sometimes or frustrated because sometimes I'm thinking, is he talking about England or people who talk like this country, my country, whatever? Are they talking about England? Are they talking about Britain? Are they talking about what, So I'd just like to point out, I know.
I think he was talking about England. I think when English people talk about the North, they mean North England.
Yeah. But I'd just like to point out, I don't know if any of your listeners heard of that or down south, but the SNP actually won another election for about the 7th time in a row, I think it was.
Yeah. They put on 23 councillors, something like that.
Councillors, yeah. They lost a couple of councillors in certain areas due to Labour throwing the kitchen sink at certain councils. But so but it's fair enough. I mean, good luck to them. But
right.
So yeah, it's basically SNP again up here. But we reject Boris Johnson and the Tories up here, But also with Keir Starmer, if he was to be, I mean, I heard as well the other week there that Keir Starmer's not really enjoying being Labour leader. It's something that he's not really that into,
Yeah,
and
I wouldn't be surprised.
What I thought was, why doesn't he just come on Monday and just resign? And then obviously once he resigns for not being fined, just for being basically caught, then maybe Boris will have to then do the same,
Well, if he was a person that experienced shame, then he would. But he doesn't experience shame. It's all about him, and he will do whatever he thinks will suit his needs and wants the most, which probably at this point is not to. He's not going to want to leave that job in infamy. He's going to want to leave it as a world leader, bestriding the international stage in a sort of a Churchillian manner. And this is why he's got stuck into Ukraine so much.
It's like he's trying to fill this photo album as well,
Oh,
I heard as well, I think it was Margaret Beckett or somebody like that was on the radio this morning or last night, and she said that he's got extra number 10 photographers taking all these pictures.
3 of them, as far as I'm aware. Correct, at least 2 or 3. Everywhere he goes, he just dons other people's workwear to get his photograph taken. That appears to be his entire job.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. What a way to run a country, eh?
Dreadful.
All right.
What a palaver.
Exactly. All right, thanks, Charlie. 0345 6060 973. Right, get this. You're not going to be happy. The Prime Minister has dropped plans to ban the importation of foie gras. Talking about ducklings. Foie gras and fur. He's dropped plans to ban the importation of foie gras and fur from the Queen's speech after ministers warned that it would send their fans into delirium because the lefty-lovey lynch mob would absolutely hate it if they did drop plans to ban the importation of foie gras and fur. So that's why they're doing it. Tell me it's not the reason. I mean, they didn't say that. They actually said that the Prime Minister has dropped plans to ban the importation of foie gras and fur from the Queen's speech after ministers warned it was fundamentally unconservative. What does that mean? What does that mean? The measures which were set to be included in the new Animals Abroad Bill were being brought in on animal cruelty grounds and have been abandoned in a bid to boost support for the Conservative Party, according to the Times newspaper. The bill was proposed to tackle animal cruelty and support conservation efforts overseas. And here we are. We are being led by people who actually think that to boost their support, they have to be more cruel to animals. Is this real life, or am I hallucinating? It looks to me like the next salvo in the war on woke, which is what the Tories are going to campaign on for the next election, being as they won't be able to campaign on low taxes, they won't be able to campaign on a vibrant economy, or fewer foreigners, or Brexit benefits, or a well-loved leader, or low fuel bills, or cheaper food, clothes and footwear. Smug?
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
I mean, which one of their fans in Hartlepool and Bolton spread foie gras on their toast while they cuddle up in a mink coat? None at all. But they can get purple-faced furious at wokeness, and that's exactly what this is. The trouble is, I bet that at least some of the Tories fans also like animals. I mean, they're Conservative voters. They're not monsters. Foie gras production already illegal here, but around 200 tonnes of it are imported into the country each year, mostly from French France. And, I bet, eaten mostly by Russian oligarchs in Mayfair restaurants. Fur farming was outlawed in the UK in 2003. And according to Her Majesty's Revenue and Customs, more than £800 million worth of animal fur has been imported into Britain since then. I bet worn by girlfriends of Russian oligarchs on their way to a Mayfair restaurant to eat foie gras. The government was set to introduce a ban on the importing of foie gras, made mainly in France and Spain, by force-feeding corn to ducks or geese with a tube. The bill's been delayed after concerns were raised by ministers about the personal choice of consumers in the UK and issues around how the ban could be enforced. Yeah, they don't seem to be that bothered about restricting people's personal choices in other areas, though, do they? I mean, are you allowed to go and live in the European country of your choice?
No.
No. They made sure of that. You haven't got that personal choice anymore. Are you allowed to protest against the government while making a nuisance of yourself?
No.
No. Are you allowed to possess a certain plant that grows in the wild?
No.
Of course not. You're not even allowed to walk on the grass.
Want to score some pot?
In February this year, the proposed ban was thrown into doubt after several ministers raised concerns. Guess which ones? Guess which ones would be most concerned about not being able to get foie gras anymore?
You're better informed than I am. I don't know anything.
Bingo. The Minister for Finding Something Positive to Say About Brexit, Jacob Smug, is one cabinet member who believes the government should not be imposing restrictions on what consumers can and cannot purchase. Yeah, of course he is. He's very keen on imposing restrictions on what consumers can and cannot purchase. I mean, where are you on the marijuana debate, Smug? Yes or no?
No, 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 no.
He is only interested in allowing you the freedom to buy things he approves of, which isn't freedom at all. Defence Secretary Ben Wallace raised concerns about banning imports of black bear fur used by military guardsmen, which he claims is sourced ethically. Really? Ask a bear what they think about that. And as a result, the Animals Abroad Bill, which is set to feature in the Queen's speech, is now no longer going to include the proposed bans on foie gras and fur imports. The new war on woke. Last week, the Daily Mail reported that government aides had been told it was likely that the Queen's speech would be slimmed down so that Tory laws can be passed to appease voters. And they really think that the poor people of the North, who've been persuaded to vote for the fantasy of Brexit and fewer foreigners, are on the edge of their seats, desperate for the ability to select foie gras from the value range at Lidl. You know, because there aren't enough of the super rich who buy furs and eat that stuff to keep the Tories in power. So it's not about fur and fancy pâté at all. It's just another desperate attempt to keep their fans angry at woke people who won't like this. But the problem they might have is that the anti-woke warriors, who are super keen to bash people they don't agree with, but not perhaps so keen to be anti-animal. I mean, the Tories might just be surprised that even their fans might not enjoy cruelty to animals. I mean, we're all guilty of some cruelty to animals, apart from vegans. Vegans get a pass. The special advisors were also warned that they were already in the long campaign for the next general election. Yeah, I bet they are. One special advisor said, "We're told we need to focus on passing Tory laws that the voters want to see." Do you really want to see more cruelty to animals? I find that hard to believe, but that's what they're banking on. Claire Bass, Executive Director of animal rights charity The Humane Society, said if Animals Abroad Bill is not announced in the Queen's speech, that would be a hugely disappointing betrayal of the public and of millions of animals relying on Boris Johnson to keep his word. Animals are relying on Boris Johnson to keep his word. Hey, good luck with that, animals. How is relying on Boris Johnson to keep his word working out for humans?
Fabulous.
0345 6060 973. Text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. If you're on Twitter, it's @LBC.
Nick Abbot on LBC. Call 0345 6060 973.
Okie dokie.
Caris tweets, Wes Streeting, he's great and very relatable, incisive and eloquent and definitely authentic. Look, no emojis, says Caris. Yeah, you've not put a single emoji in that message. Well done. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Charles says, the country voted for Brexit. Is it sinking in yet, Nick? Shouts Charles. Well, it's about a third of the country voted for Brexit, Charles. And if you think that that we should all be beholden to that one vote, which was the win was acquired by criminal means, if you think that we should be beholden to that forever, then when you were a child, I bet you voted for Farley's rusks. You still eating them? Let's have East Yorkshire. Hello, Mike.
Hi, Nick. Yeah, how are you?
All right.
Good, yeah. Interesting that last texter used stink and Brexit in the same sentence.
Yes.
But, quickie, I want to get on to Angela Rayner, but just a quickie about Hull, seeing as we're getting a lot of stuff at the minute. We've got a Farage at Large thing on Thursday in Hull.
What?
You know, Farage at Large, he goes round and does Brexit stuff, meetings and stuff.
What?
Yeah, seriously. Anyway, cut long story short.
What's it for, though?
Well, it's just to promote
Brexit.
To say how well Brexit's going. And
it's going really, really well. Hey, Nige?
Brexit's going great.
No, it's a dismal failure on every measure.
And anyway, what he does is he gives you an address to write to email address to apply for free tickets. So when we met up on the night time, a gang of us said, let's do a Trump on him. You know what happens to Trump in America?
Right.
So when we all went home, we all applied for these tickets, and the bloody tickets had all gone.
Oh.
We were thinking, if we can get 60 tickets or something like that, and you turn up, nobody there.
Not show up, yeah.
But anyway, we're going to be subjected to Farage on Thursday, so there we go.
Only the people that show up. Only the certain demographic that show up.
We are thick, we are stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. But Angela Rayner, I'm going to totally agree and totally disagree with you at the same time.
Okay.
I agree with you that I think she's absolutely great, but I disagree with you that it would be a good thing to let her become leader of Her Majesty's opposition, because all the swing voters that I know regard Angela Rayner as a reincarnation of Dennis Skinner, and they wouldn't vote for her.
Right.
Unfairly. I don't think it's reasonable, but that's one thing. But the other thing is, can you imagine what the press would do to her if you think Corbyn got a caning off the press? the poor lass would get absolutely slaughtered, and again, totally unfairly. But I think it would stop her doing an effective job, Nick.
Right. So we should be stuck with whoever the Daily Mail want.
Well, no, not particularly. But one interesting thought: everyone's talking about alternative leaders, and if Ed Balls decides to stand for the Wakefield constituency and he gets in, he might be quite a popular choice because he was very popular on Strictly. He knows what he's doing. He's not daft. He's not particularly tainted with Blair, definitely not tainted with Corbyn. And he's quite a good economist. He's not a stupid guy by any manner of means.
Right.
And he's quite chatty and he's good in front of the camera and he's quite a good debater. So
very good on Strictly.
Well, good in front of the camera as always.
Right. Here, Ed, are you dancing? All right, thanks a lot, Mike. 0345 6060 973. Terry texts, if wind turbines produced free electricity, why are we still paying for it? Well, it's free because the wind is free, is what I mean. But you're still paying for it because electricity is priced internationally. Obviously. Plus it costs, money to put the turbines up in the first place and rent the land probably from Her Majesty the Queen and all of the rest of it. But the wind is free. That's what I meant, Terry, as you must know. York, hello, Jan.
Hello, Nick. How are you tonight?
I am great, mate.
Good. You were just talking about the, can't say it, foie gras.
Foie
and the
gras,
fur.
yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't believe it. Is that true that he's not going to, it's not going to be banned?
Yes, because it would be unconservative, apparently. He thinks that's what his fans want, to be able to eat foie gras and wear fur. Incredible.
Well, that is dreadful. I don't know who on earth would want to eat that stuff anyway.
What's it like?
I have no idea.
Oh, right. Well, it might
Do
be.
you? Do you know?
No, I don't. It might be delicious. I mean, people pay a lot of money for it, like caviar. I bet that tastes horrible as well.
But the way they do it, it's disgusting, don't you think?
Yes, but then if you knew how they made, pork chops and chicken breasts and burgers and all of the rest of it, you'd probably be put off eating that too.
Well, I don't eat them anyway.
You know they have to kill the animal to get the meat out of it, don't you?
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I am a vegetarian, but...
right. Do you eat fish?
I'm not... No.
Do you eat...
But I do...
Do you eat sausages?
No.
Bacon?
No.
Well, bacon's a vegetable.
So you say. But I do drink milk, and I wish I didn't.
Guilty!
I know. I have heard you say that you've tried all sorts of different kinds of milk, haven't
I've tried them all. Awful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I wish I didn't drink it, but there you go.
Yeah, the alternatives to milk, they taste so bad that they have to fill it with sugar just to make it palatable. The absolute total worst one of all by a country mile was marijuana milk.
Want to score some pot?
It was hemp milk. Ugh, it is
Good Lord.
Awful. Or at least the brand that I tried, absolutely terrible. Like almond milk and all that sort of stuff. It's okay, but it's you can drink it because it's sweet. I like milk. I get through buckets of milk.
Do you?
Yeah.
And fur, the only place that belongs is on the animal, surely.
On the animal, yeah, that's right. That's where it looks best.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Who the hell wears fur now?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I can't remember the last time I saw somebody wearing fur. It was like the 1970s. Fur, £800 million worth of fur has been introduced into this country in the last few years. That's just beyond belief. Where do
Ridiculous.
People wear it?
It's stupid. But those bear skins, they are definitely proper bear skin, aren't they?
Yeah.
I mean, they surely could use something